Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Game Vault podcast stream. I'm your host, Mark. We're back with the news hour for April. I guess April 19th when I'm recorded, but it is 4:20 for everyone out there listening. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Woo! So, I don't know. I'm the most uncool person to ever utter a 420 celebration. So take it with what you will. So I hope everybody has had a good week. We're almost through April here. We've got one more episode this month. And everything seems to be picking up for the website here. Tom started Final Fantasy X. I know what I'm doing next after Mega Man 6. We should be finishing Trails soon. So a lot of new stuff going on here at the website. But one thing that won't be talked about on this website for a little bit is apparently what I feel about Pragmata. So, I purchased Pragmata through a deal from Wario64 for Newegg. And apparently, the code that was sent out does not work. They sent me an email about it that I missed. I went to try and redeem the code today. Did not work. Xbox is blaming Newegg, and Newegg says they'll get back to me tomorrow. Meaning tonight when you're listening to this. I don't know if they, obviously they couldn't have sent me an expired code because the game just came out. I don't know if they sent me an all regions code or something that needs me to wait until April 24th when the game comes out in Japan. I don't know if they send me a Japanese code, I don't know what happened, and nobody's really giving me answers. The internet on Reddit is giving me some inquiries into possibly what it could be. But, the consensus is something like Newegg didn't activate the codes on their end so that Microsoft would recognize them. I should have just gotten the Steam code, but I was like, all right, this deal is for Xbox or Steam. I don't have a thing set up to play a game like Pragmata in my living room. So if I get the Xbox, I could do the Xbox Play Anywhere, which is if I want it on my PC, I could play it on my PC. If I wanted it on my console, I could play it on my big TV. So, we might not know about Pragmata for a while, so now I'm just waiting to hear if either Newegg's going to fix this or they're going to give me my money back and then I'm going to go buy the game digitally on PlayStation. So, even though this isn't Xbox's fault, I'm going to blame Xbox as well. So, that was one of the things I was planning on telling you about. I was going to use my whole day Sunday today to play through as much of the game as possible. Get a couple hours, maybe 4 hours, something like that throughout the day. And give you a little update on it. But nope, wasn't in the cards. That means for the most part, there's not much to talk about this week in terms of games. I played NCAA. That's about it. Because the week's been packed. I had, in my normal days, I was, I played NCAA on the Monday and Tuesday, or Monday and Wednesday, that I had time, and then, bowling on Tuesday, and then Friday night, I, went up to State College, which was pretty fun, for the appreciation night for my friend who's the men's volleyball coach, and then Saturday, we had Danny's party and the Flyers, and then I was like, oh, Sunday's perfect. I have nothing to do on Sunday. I will play Pragmata, so I have something to talk about on the podcast, and it didn't let me. The one thing I did notice, which I'm extremely happy with, I believe, so I downgraded from Ultimate to Premium, like the next level down, and it apparently kept the EA Play thing, and, what's it called? Trials of Mana, and games like that. So I still have my Trials of Mana gameplay I was playing through. I could have played that today, but I was just frustrated. And apparently, I can still get the EA games on there. So I didn't have to. The EA thing was the only reason really I was paying for Game Pass at times. So if paying at the lower level is going to get me the same thing, I don't think I need Ultimate. It did unfortunately let me know that I couldn't play any Ubisoft games that I had downloaded, like Star Wars, the new Star Wars game, and then newer things coming out like Mio, Forza Horizon 6, things like that I had pre-downloaded. I had to delete. But I'm glad to see the Trials thing is still in there, because that could be if I get bored. But I don't think I will for the next couple of months. But at least it'll still be on there. So I'm happy about that. But yeah, I didn't play Mega Man this week. I didn't play Trails this week because of the aforementioned Flyers, Danny, and State College trip. So your boy didn't play much video games this week. Yeah, I think the only thing, I didn't do anything. I didn't even play like stupid phone games, so I do apologize for the segment being much shorter than usual. It was unintended. Yeah, I am looking forward to, probably at some point, I probably should have done this today once I got frustrated, is I do want to dive back in and play some New Game Plus of Requiem. So maybe I'll do that if this Pragmata thing stretches out. But either way, yeah, that's it. So let us know. You can hit us up on social media. You can join the TC Tam Discord, just $1 a month. We have a video game section in there, which is a lot more lively than anything we've ever done, probably because people are actually on that Discord. And then you get access to TV, movies, and other music, and a whole bunch of other things. It's a great Discord if you guys want to join it. But it's $1 a month. Go to patreon.com /TCTAM pod. They called this a movie. And it'd be great to see you over there. But without further ado, let's move on to the news. There we go. First up, Metro 2039 is coming this year. But as reported, the game was fundamentally changed because of Russia's illegal war in Ukraine. Developer 4A Games showcased the sequel for the first time on Thursday, and in a pre-brief attended by VGC, it said that Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine in February 2022 fundamentally changed not only life at the Ukraine-based studio, but also had a major impact on the game itself. While much of the team remains in Ukraine, the development team is now spread across 20 different nations. The game's story will focus acutely on choices, actions, consequences, and the cost of securing a future. The meaning of our games has always been about preventing war, but now war is our reality, and our message has shifted to be about the consequences, said 4A Games. Everything we've planned for the next chapter of Metro changed in 2020, and more significantly in 2022. The reveal trailer is on YouTube if you want to watch it. The synopsis says, for a quarter century, the last survivors of nuclear war have been locked in bitter conflict deep in the metro tunnels beneath the poisoned city of Moscow. Now the underground factions are unified under one banner, the Neuroreich, led by a new Fuhrer, the legendary Spartan Hunter. You play as the stranger, a recluse hunted by violent waking nightmares, forced to undertake a harrowing journey back down to the metro, a place he swore he would never return to. Yeah, so, never really played the Metro games, but I've heard only good things. It's interesting to get some in-depth analysis of, where a developer's head is at and why things in the games are the way they are. So it's a, sad situation, for them that they had to, sort of pivot off what they were going for with these games. Maybe it makes it a better game, and I hope it is successful for them, because it does sound like something we need to learn about right now is the consequences of war. All right, next up. This one's an old one, but it came in just after last week's podcast. But Xbox new boss tells staff Game Pass has become too expensive for players, to which I respond, no bullshit. Or no shit, or whatever. I'm tired. In an internal memo sent to gaming employees, first published by The Verge, Sharma, the new head of Xbox, said that services need a better value equation. 6 months after Microsoft hiked the price of its top Game Pass tier by 50% to $30. Game Pass is essential to gaming value on Xbox. It is also clear that the current model isn't the final one, Sharma wrote. Short-term, Game Pass has become too expensive for players, so we need a better value equation. Long-term, we will evolve Game Pass into a more flexible system, which will take time to test and learn around. Currently, Game Pass Ultimate is $30. Premium, which is what I have, is $15. Essential is $10, and PC Game Pass itself is $17. According to reports, part of the reason for the Game Pass price increases last year was the inclusion of new Call of Duty games in that service, which would likely cost Microsoft significant sales revenue. Per a Bloomberg report, last year's Game Pass price raises arrived after Xbox gave up more than $300 million in sales of Call of Duty on console and PC last year, according to a former employee. Yeah, so as we said all along, up to $30. That was the Rubicon, or whatever they call it. I don't think a service like this should ever be. I think the $21 was pushing it. I think you could set it like a la carte, like Tom said. You can set it at $20, and you pick two perks. Do you want day one Xbox games? Do you want the previous library? Do you want EA Plus? Do you want Ubisoft Plus? Do you want, all any of the other features like the Fortnite stuff and all that? Like you pick two for $20 a month. And I think that would be perfect. Because then the idea becomes, like, what type of gamer are you using Game Pass for? Are you want the first party Xbox games when they come out, like Forza, like Bethesda stuff, Activision stuff? Do you want that? I don't think. We'll get back to that in a second. Let me finish this point here. Or do you want to play games that have been out for a year plus? Maybe that's the type of games that are in the other group. Games that have been out for a year, 2 years, 18 months, whatever you want to set the date at. And you can play those games. So maybe you wait a year and a half to play first party Xbox games. And then, or are you ones that just are getting it for EA and Ubisoft? Because having it combined is cheaper than buying for those separately. I think the main issue here is, as insane as this is going to sound, I really think that you need to separate Call of Duty from Game Pass. Like, if Microsoft, I'm thinking of this as, I'm already anti-Microsoft in a big sense because of the BDS stuff and all that. But Microsoft, the company, not Xbox, Microsoft, the company, has to understand that if you put Call of Duty on Game Pass, you're not going to get enough Game Pass subscribers to make up for what you'll lose by not selling a copy of Call of Duty. Because many of the Call of Duty players that would pay $60, $70, $80, $90 for Call of Duty already have Game Pass for the most part. Or even Game Pass Ultimate. So you're losing all those sales. You need to separate, Call of Duty out. Game Pass used to be called the best deal in games because it was crazy what they were offering for the price they were offering it for at the time. I think we need to find a balance between the insanity that was when that first came out, and you were getting so many games and so many new games that the map just always worked out to play in your favor, and $30 a month. So if they're going to keep Game Pass the way it's going, they have to figure out the middle ground between those and find a way to do great marketing and PR to sell it to the consumer. So, yeah. But anyway, maybe we'll be seeing some changes coming soon because they're seeing that the raises weren't worth it. All right, next up. In kind of non-video game but video game related stuff, Bloodborne is officially returning as an R-rated animated movie. Sony Pictures and PlayStation Productions are developing the feature film, which will be produced by content creator Sean. I think it's Jacksepticeye. Yeah, Jacksepticeye. Along with lyrical animation. No plot details or director is announced for Bloodborne, though Sony and the project mark the continuation of its push to use game IP in the film space, following products such as Twisted Metal, Uncharted, and The Last of Us. Released in 2015, Bloodborne is a critically acclaimed action RPG set in a gothic world, directed by Miyazaki, and published by Sony. Sony owns the Bloodborne IP, and fans have long called for it to revisit the game in the form of a remaster. Veteran PlayStation executive Shuhei Yoshida recently explained why he believes Bloodborne hasn't been properly bought to PS5 yet. Bloodborne has always been the most asked for thing, and people wonder why we haven't really done anything and not even an update or a remake or remaster, which should be easy. We're known for doing so many remasters. Some people get frustrated, he told Kind of Funny. I only have my personal theories for that situation. I left first-party development, so I don't know what's going on. But my theory is because I remember Miyazaki really loved Bloodborne and what he created. I think he is interested in bringing back Bloodborne, but he is so successful and so busy, so he can't do it himself, but he doesn't want anyone else to touch it. So that's my theory, and the PlayStation team respects his wish. That's my guess and theory. I am not revealing any secret information. Now, Bloodborne is going to make a great animated series, movie, whatever. The story is there that you can tell through animation a lot better than than live action. And I think there's a lot of things to be told through other parts of the lore. So it should be really interesting to see what they can come up with this animated movie. And I 100% agree with Shuhei here. And the whole reason seems to be that Miyazaki wants to do it himself if he's going to remaster. He is a lot more attached to Bloodborne than he would, say, a Demon's Souls or even some of the Dark Souls games. I feel like he thinks he's the only one that can do that game justice. So we'll just have to wait until he decides to do it there. But I really think it does need to come to PS5, PS6, or whatever, just so it's 30 frames per second, or 60 frames. So it'll be a game changer. All right, next up. SNK is releasing a modern Neo Geo AES console with unrivaled authenticity and 70, I guess that would be, for us, that would be, is this even coming to the US? But anyway, I'll finish reading it. It says here 70-pound game cartridges, as in the money, not actually 70 pounds. Or Originally released in 1990 and remembered for its strong arcade ports, the new Neo Geo AES Advanced Entertainment System is planned for release this Christmas and promises unrivaled authenticity. Standard and 35th edition hardware will release on November 12th for $250, with a roster of game cartridges also due to go on sale for, and it only has the EU and like 70 British pounds and 80 euros. So I'm guessing we're looking at what? $70, 75, somewhere in there for the US. According to PlayOn, I believe that's how I said that. Neo Geo AES Plus will come with discrete quality of life upgrades, such as low latency HDMI output, 1080p output, and on-screen BIOS and dip switches located on the bottom of the console, allowing for instant switches of language selection, overclocking the hardware, or choosing different display modes. The console also offers low power consumption and permanently saves gamers' high scores for each game. 10 Neo Geo games will launch alongside the console, with more to follow, as well as a selection of accessories. On day one, it will offer Metal Slug, King of Fighters 2002, Mark of the Wolves, Big Tournament Golf, Shock Troopers, Samurai Showdown 5 Special, Polestar, Twinkle Star Sprites, Magician Lord, and Overtop. So if you're watching the video, you can see some of the photos here of what it will look like. You know, old school arcade pad with the little joystick nub. You know, so it'll be all one-to-one replicas of the original thing. So, and as you can see above my head, as I switch back from full screening the news story, Tom is definitely getting this. So we will have a report on the Game Vault Pod at some point, whether it's Podcast Prime or News Hour here when I get the update from him, or he tells you in the chat. So look out for that next year when we have our report on the SNK Neo Geo machine, courtesy of Metal Militia. All right, next up, Hades 2 arrives on console with a new update, making it easier to romance popular character. Hades 2 has received an update timed alongside the PS5 and Xbox release of the game, making it easier to romance a fan favorite. In Hades 2, the players can form bonds with various NPCs, some of which can lead to romantic relationships. Each of the characters that the player controls can bond with and has a special set of conditions that must be met in order to romance said character, with some being more difficult than others. One of the most infamously difficult NPCs to romance, Icarus, will now form bonds with players more easily following the new update. Players can now also give NPC bath salts, an item that increases the NPC's affinity with the player earlier in the game. Players can also gift NPCs these items indefinitely. The long list of patch notes includes changes to visual effects of multiple weapons, as well as new dialogue across the whole game for multiple characters. So, insane. The amount of stuff they add to this game. I'm interested to jump back in. I played a whole lot of this really quickly at the end of the year because I got obsessed with it. And then once I, got the first ending, because there's one ending and then there's an ending once you, do like a second round of things and stuff, or get everybody's friendship meter or romance meters up max. So I'm excited to get back in and finish that there. So if you haven't played Hades 2 yet, because you don't have PC, I 100% telling you to pick this up on console. You will love it. It is a very well worth sequel, especially if you loved Hades. Next up, PS5 sales reach year highs as consumers race to beat Sony's price increase. PlayStation 5 hardware sales reportedly reached year highs in the US earlier this month as consumers race to beat Sony's significant price increases. Late last month, Sony confirmed plans to increase the price of its console by at least $100 across the board. Most notably, the premium PlayStation 5 Pro console increased by $150 and now retails for $900. According to Circana, a retail tracking service, U.S. weekly unit and dollar sales of PlayStation 5 hardware reached 2026 highs during the week ending April 4th, right as the price increase went into effect. So it appears that many consumers impulsively bought hardware before the price jumps. U.S. spending on video game hardware for the week nearly doubled when compared to the same week a year ago, said Senior Director Matt Piscatella. Both Sony and Microsoft briefly raised price in their game consoles last year, driven by the impact of U.S. tariffs, increased memory costs, and broader macroeconomic conditions. So, as is no surprise, they were going to increase the price. They gave people a 2-week notice or more on it, so everybody bought a whole bunch of stock and got it at the cheaper price, and therefore your sales look a lot higher. Great way to end your fiscal year. Smart move by Sony, making their books look a lot better at the end of the fiscal year, before they look like shit for the next fiscal year. Smart move, guys. Hopefully these prices come down at some point before the new systems come out. But people are dumb enough to pay these prices, so we'll see how it goes. And finally, told you to be a short one, just because I really had nothing to talk about up front and there wasn't much news. PlayStation Plus Extra games for April reportedly includes Horizon Remaster and more. I'll click this story. So hopefully this doesn't fuck up everything. Oh yeah, you can still see it. Good. Okay. It went to a PlayStation thing. So it looks like the games for Extra and Premium, the Crew Motorfest, Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, Football Manager 26, Warriors Abyss, Squirrel with a Gun, the Casting of Frank Stone, which I think is like a it's a Dead by Daylight game, Monster Train, and if you just have Premium, Wild Arms 4. Oh, that's a throwback. That's the first game I ever streamed, Wild Arms, on Twitch, a long time ago. First RPG I beat with other people watching me play. That was a fun game. So yeah, those are your games if you do have PlayStation Plus, Extra or Premium, for this week. All right, that'll do it for the episode. This one will come in about under a half hour or so. So nice quick listening for you before you get in for Game 2. Go Flyers. Tonight, hopefully, I'll have some Pragmata stuff for next week. Tonight is Mega Man 6. Hopefully, we beat it, or it's one more week. Thursday is Final Fantasy X. And then on Friday will be... Friday will be fine. Friday will be Trails. Hopefully, that's near the end. And then Sunday, we'll be back with the news hour with hopefully some Pragmata updates. So hopefully we'll have a lot more to talk about next week with video games. I might jump in and try a couple things out now that I know that my Xbox subscription allows certain games that I thought were gone. Maybe I can play those if I have nothing else to do. But, yeah. Thank you all for joining me. It has been fun as always. And we'll see you tonight for Mega Man 6. And have a good rest of your day. Bye.